Yes, it's for non-violence. So, it's part of the activities for non-violent strategy. But according to our land, the police says we are destroying property. If we are burning it on the roads, we are destroying public property. So that alone is going to encourage the police to deal with us violently because that's how they interpret it. And then we agree. Because there are people even on this space right now who are like, no, 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 no. We have to burn the tires because they don't know the implications because they just need awareness. So for me, I think going forward, in part of what we are saying that we are getting ourselves, we are planning strategically, we are mobilizing ourselves, we are creating awareness for ourselves, what we can do when these kind of situations arise. This is the definition of knowing what to do. At the moment, you know what to do. Do we know what to do? We haven't planned, we haven't sat on the same platform
Florence, my
to
concern,
know that we know what to do.
Yeah, but my concern is still with, like James is saying, yes, you're telling us all this, but still, I think your definition of non-violence would not be everyone's definition of non-violence. Kubanga bw'engamba nti nzigadde oluguudo olugenda eno n'eno, that is not violent, actually. So what is your yardstick for not being violent? Is having placards and moving around like James Yagama nti tutambule kubanga ne James agambye okuuza ekipiira si kubeera violence. So what is the yardstick? What are we measuring to say this is violent, this is non-violent? I think also that is very important. We shall not assume that everyone knows, and I cannot assume that I know. So you guys define what is non-violence. If violence violence to me is getting a gun or hurting some people. So to me, yeah, violence is happening.
It's not me alone to tell you this is violent, this is not violent.
The thing is,
conversation
listen to me for a second. No, what I'm saying is, wokwata akazindalo kano yigiriza oyo akuwuliriza. Yigiriza togamba it is not about me. If you come here and tell me we want to protest non-violent, elaborate. Do not assume we know. I think I had an argument with someone the other day. I don't know why the people are having arguments like, I don't know, I think you know, I don't know, I think you know. Do not assume people know. If you bring a suggestion, gufura omukisa nti nyinza okuba nyina bentaddeko owayigirize ky'otegeeza, be that clear. That's what I'm trying to communicate. And I'm trying to tell everyone who gets a mic to speak, if you're going to say something, okay, don't look at me who has been having conversations with you. Take on that mic and teach someone else that could be listening to you. And that is the whole idea of opening up spaces. That is, anyway, that's what I think. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay. I've heard that. Maybe just to come in just katononyo. What Good Girl is actually asking here is that omuntu wa blocking oluguudo. Kitegera na blocking oluguudo. Is that a peaceful protest? Oli wabanga yakomye ekipiira ne bagamba is a peaceful protest is peaceful. Kitegera is peaceful. Then what about blocking oluguudo? Of course over to inago okubye over to inago ogize. But now the context here is that bagamba like you are disrupting transport. I don't want to buy everything that government says, but blocking oluguudo depending on what someone has used and all that, probably it's something that is maybe some you can it is maybe government kale kiri better ko okusinga okwocha ekipiira, oli ataddewo ebigundi na blocking oluguudo. Normally in the protest babikola, and it is not it's not so hard compared to how watch ebipiira and all that, because that is fire. It's like even waliwo n'omuliro, the context y'omuliro, okulaba omuliro, there is nga bugamba nti omuliro, there is fire burning here. Kino engeri gyekikyamusaamu abantu than ogamba abantu bataddewo ebisanvu bablockinze wano oluguudo. So obwongo tebugenda nnyo mu violence nga ng'omuntu gwosanze nga just to say fire nebosanga busanzi muliro in a place like there is a way jechikugamba bane this is but then just osanga abantu bazibya olugudo gamba ha and wano waliwo abantu naye kanonyendo zawe mpita things like that of which I believe that still those things are done, but tugamba to which extent are those things going to be done? So he didn't have time to explain what people have to do on 18th Ngabamukute. He didn't have time to explain to them. So the only thing he said was be non-violent. So now it's up to us Ugandans okweducating ourselves. Ntinze olunaku lwendiyagala okwekalakasa nembagamba nti nze ngenda kwekalakasa buli omu ali bakimanyi nti James bwagamba okwekalakasa tewali kwokya kipiira. Either you follow me or not. Okitegeera, either you follow me or not because of okimanyi. So that's the element that we need to tell people, that bwe tugamba okwekalakasa tutegeeza kino era totyanga genda kwekalakasa wabula sagala genda na muntu azina petrol azina nakadomola kamafuta oba azina kibiriti oyo mbase genda naye because tetuli mu line yemu naye njagala omuntu azze ngaze n'ekirobozi kye ngagenda kulekana there is that guy, remember guy yayita ku Nasa Road Nkuruma Road ngagenda alekana bana mtu egatte kabasajja batufukidde zike bichi during march to parliament mujukire omuvubuka. So in that kind, imagine ngoyina abantu we bati ku team ngoyina ka abantu nga 30 and you are moving wherever you're moving. First of all, it inspires other people to join, because one of the hardest thing to do in any place, especially in our countries, is to protest. One of the hardest thing okola kwekalakaza oba kivudde kyo bakuvudde kinze gambye on 18th I was in the house guy ngamasasi gavuga, because ngamasasi gavuga owulire na masasi gavuga owulire na masasi gavuga ogateka ko TV ogateka ko ngamasasi gavuga. So it becomes so difficult omuntu okuva mu nyumba ngamasasi gavuga kizibu nnyo, naye ate kyangu nnyo omuntu okuwulira olube lw'abantu oba mu Luganda like a crowd ng'etambula eyitawo n'ogamba eno nange njegattako, because in that way you are mobilizing some energy of other people. Violence demobilizes people. Kati it is now kiri eri muna Uganda okumanya nti anytime go wekalakasa on what the steps that you take either demobilize people or mobilizes them. But also there are things we call reactionary people reacting to a certain incident. So ezozo tosobola zi controlling how people will react, because people are reacting when bamukute abantu bechaye. That is reactionary. It's not a protest. People are just reacting to something, and then bamuta people never bivako. It's just reacting. But something your plan is with ngoyagala results, because our abantu bamana tebamanya what they are doing. Yes, alumba bulumbi tukoye mutu. Remember Kayunga story Kabaka. So that's the same thing. Abantu bari reacting to the incident that has just happened. Depending on that incident, determining the longevity of the reaction. So baba kubanga bamukute for more days. Era twali batweyongerayo up to 20th. Baba kubanga twamutadde to 20th era bali batweyongerayo because people were not willing to. That's why in Zemba posing the question on Mbagamba, if I was a government, would I arrest Bobi Wine again? No, because I know what it causes. It can shake the government, it can shake the system, it can maybe cause other things. So what the Mugamanti government it can do anything, but I really don't see this time doing that, because it put them on spot last time. I don't think they are willing to do that again. I want to give Mukasa the mic. Wounded Uganda, you are dropping. Probably you're having some issues. Wounded Uganda.
No, I can stay open because I wanted to first of all. It's okay, Dala. I wanted to say that it is very possible. Government is of Chidama. Bwaba mugezi muchi. Museveni mugezi mukweyibulula, like to move his image from one angle, from Fronasa to NRA, from NRA to to PDM to wealth creation. Engeri gy'agenda yeeyubulula SFC, UPDF. Why am I saying all this? Because Museveni can change his tactics. Instead of this time coming with bullets on the street and he kills people to send an image, which we got clearly, he can decide to do it in another way. It can be poison, which is continuous. It can, and they manufacture poison. It can be accidents, staged accidents. It can be fires that you're seeing school dormitories and these things. There is a lot of tactics he has at his display that he uses to kill people that he can capitalize on one. Okay, so I don't want you to rule out the fact that Museveni may not repeat his own mistakes. First of all, if you read about his history from killing the Muslims in Western Uganda to burning people in the train wagons in Northern Uganda, I don't know, from wearing clothes of the army of Obote and killing people in Luero, from killing the likes of Ugandan elites like Bendicto Chiwanuka, bino ebintu kankubuulire omusajja abadde abikola every time Bamayombo yabakuba obutwa oba ye oba si ye naye sisitimu ye yabakuba obutwa, abalala babakubye amasasi, bakaziini babakubye obutayimbwa. So kyenjagala okukulaga nti ekyo ky'ogamba tekigenda kuddamu kikyamu, olinga okugenda kugamba Museveni gavumenti ye tegenda kusurvivinga ku corruption. These are the key points that make Museveni stay in power. It is his brutality, his ability to show his radicalism at such a level. You know, abedda bakugamba yali akwata abaana abato n'abannyika mu buugi. You know, that kind of brutality. Men sodomizing other men in front of their families. So bino ebyokukuba amasasi kitono nnyo. The guy had a team of kakumbi. Nti if you are one of his team and you betray his mission, akuba kakumbi. So I want to strongly think that Museveni is capable of doing what he did on 20th, even worse. Okay, it's just that there is too much awareness, at least lately, even though there is lack of action, but there is a lot of awareness, and that has kind of made it difficult for him. So he has to devise other means. Njagala okukikakasa Museveni addamu ekintu ekyo. Mpozi ku point ya why president ya insistinga nnyo ku non-violent means. Baganda bange, ono omusajja bwe muba temumusupporting. If you have not just supported Bobi Wine or Kyagulanyi, we all know this is a real Rasta, simple ghetto youth who has love for everyone. He's not a killer. So he doesn't have, first of all, the ability. Abamu kufa abali wano tuyinza okweyita wounded biki biki. Naye we don't have the ability to take life okutta omuntu. You know? So ekyo kye kisookera ddala. We are not going to fight an infamous, brutal rebel who killed over 1 million people with violence. We are very premature in that. We are going in the waters that he knows very well. So it's only right okutinge ate ekirala baganda bange, violence is for the weak. Ekyo njagala mukimanye. Ffe tuli bantu bangi abanyigirizibwa naye abatunyigiriza batono nnyo. Ne bwegamba SFC, they are not equivalent to the number of SFC. Kati lwaki tugenda mu violence when we have been in violence for over 40 years, first of all? But to akubeera violent, why didn't we be there in the days of VSJ? You know? But I want you to know there is a reason as to why we choose to be non-violent, because we are trying to create a different image. Like you said, twagala abantu different groups of people, young, old, educated, uneducated, but we goteko. So yes, it is true that it is a very good approach to bring we are not going to say that we can rule out the violence, because let me tell you, there are stages to these things. I think one time we need to really have a conversation on stages of violence and when should one do what, because fete tumanyi even protest ne riot. Okay, so waliwo sometimes violence eri necessary ate violence eyinza okubeera verbal. Nze personally, I have some of my friends on this space. I think Apollens was one of the people who came and told me, naye gundi gwe ovuma nnyo kendezaamu. But I used to be that radical because I would express my anger through being verbally violent. So there is some violence that we can exhibit. Okay, saagala mukitwale nti Museveni yeka alina akasumuluzo akayingiza abantu mu violence. Naffe tusobola obeera violent. Naye violence eyo eyinza obeera objective etya nti bw'oyokya ekipiira, what is your purpose? Okay, because if bwe tuba twekungaanye nga tuweza abantu nga 1,000 lwokka oba 500 people, just 500, we can eventually block the road without necessarily using sticks and stones. You understand? So I think we need to be honest, and also we need to let our oppressors know that we can't be violent if we choose to. They are not the last breed of violent Ugandans. However, our violence may not involve killing like they do, because theirs is the last, part of violence that anyone would wish on another human being. So, kyembadde njagala okwogerako ekyo, but I don't want you to think that Museveni cannot repeat what happened. No. He might repeat it in a better advanced way, or in another way that media won't capture, So I think those are the few points I wanted to say for as of now. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Wounded Ugandan. Dr. James. Dr. James, if you're ready to speak, you can take on the mic.
I think I'll speak briefly and go back to sleep because I was good morning. I dropped in something in the link. I don't know whether people saw it. And, it was in response to what's non-violence. It will even go back to the things we've been asking, that what is political mobilization? And it will go back to ask a question that what do we do when we do this country tours? I think somebody got people when we say the crowds that show up are not mobilized. They just show up, but they don't get the content. Now, when you're talking about non-violent struggles, you look at the state actors. Who are the actors in the state? That's why I've posted that for you there. Non-violent struggles, there's discontent in state actors. When we say we're mobilizing people, usually the people who join us are usually the free people. But the people who don't join are the state actors. Recently, you saw in Zimbabwe, was it Mozambique or Zimbabwe? The doctors came on the streets and led a strike. You want those state actors to come out because it's simple. Non-violent struggles is withdrawal of labor. It takes civil disobedience. Do you understand what civil disobedience is? Once you have understood what civil disobedience is, then you'll understand what non-violence actors or what non-violence is. If you are going to use the crowds that we see daily, those are angry crowds most of the time. They can come out and they'll become violent. So when we say don't be violent, there are people we're appealing to who don't come out. And those are the state actors. If teachers laid down tools, doctors laid down tools, nurses laid down tools, the state gets paralyzed. Actually, each time you're protesting, the doctors are working, the teachers are teaching, the nurses are working, somebody in the garden is digging. So you want to get these state actors into action. So how do we get that? We need to revisit that. Think about it. How do you get state actors Because the state, if you are, the state tends to protect the business people. When you're protesting, make sure you don't disrupt. That's what they tell you. Make sure you don't disrupt. You have your rights to protest, but then there's also somebody who is working. So how do we get state actors? As we are protesting, the country is running. So how do you get the other person who is running the country out? It's by you understanding their discontent. Their salaries are not enough. Maybe if doctors can just also just become, this is the question I've been asking doctors, that when are you part of the people? When are you part of the people? The other day, I think most of you missed that space on the World Diabetic Day when I came and said, but you people, as we discuss diabetes, are you seeing the vehicles that are following Bobi Wine? Don't you think those vehicles can contribute to treatment of diabetes? The person who was co-hosting disconnected my microphone. And he said, this is not politics. That's what he did. And so you see, that's a state actor connecting civic engagement. So these are things you need to think up seriously, that if you think they are mobilizing, who do you mobilize? There are people you're not reaching. The crowd you see is a deceit. There are people you're not reaching. There are people who will give you results by achieving a political mobilization, but you're not achieving the revolution which you have often talked about. I think that's the little I wanted to say. But then again, I have put for you people that I don't know whether I can play that video for myself so that you guys can hear what I was trying to talk about. Every day I try to tell you something about. It's like we wake up every morning and we remind ourselves about violence. We remind ourselves, we capture the fear. We capture the fear that has been shown before us, and it has taken a root that our minds are locked up in that fear. And the day you overcome that fear, I think it's the day you begin to get yourselves liberated. Because the mere fact that somebody can mention that the guy will kill, and I think you remember when Museveni said, how can Libya, what happened in Libya can't happen here. I would turn this place into, he called it what? Tahrir something square. I don't remember those. He mentioned some kind of revolution that was in Russia, where a guy just got out with the tankers and killed everyone, almost everyone who was on the street.
Tiananmen Square.
The video is very low. It can't play on my side. I wanted to play for you that video, but it was. I don't know how I can get that video to play for you so that everyone can listen. There's that mind that the gun is a symbol of peace in Uganda now. It's a symbol. And so that's why the uniform man is walking every day with the gun, so that when you see it, it reminds you so many things, that there's somebody in charge. Ugandans don't see being in charge as a hospital running. The Ugandans see being in charge as somebody working with a gun. Ugandans don't see being in charge as a school running. Ugandans see somebody in charge as working with a gun. So that has remained, that each time you are even showing any discontent, in your mind comes the gun. The guy will kill me, the guy will arrest me. So we have now stayed, and it has captured, like they say, it takes about 20 years. The guy has led us for 40. So that was the little I wanted to mention, and I think I just do a lot of these things almost from space to space. But unless, since MP out, you have been asking questions, if I have not answered your question, you can ask me a question.
No, I've got the biggest point here. What you're making is, of course, I was is saying the same thing, that you have to. How do you sustain a protest? A protest must invite those areas that you mentioned. Leave alone those young people that coming. But then there's a time where you need even the doctors to join. Not that they're coming on the street, but to be in solidarity with those who are protesting, or the teachers, depending on the time of the protest and everything. So at the end of the day, it must be appealing to those groups and other people, not like you call them actors, state actors. Even the state actors within the state themselves. There are so many times you have heard people saying that they have colleagues in army and police saying them, we know guys, we are not serious. That is the kind of mentality, because they don't see like Ugandans maybe to because and then you just stop there. So you have had so many people talking about the same thing, like abantu abasirikale babagamba baba police or abamagenti mutwa wamanyira just ebintu byametebera serious, So the state, how does even a protest invite state actors? I watched a video last time where the army was abavubuka nga bekute ku motoka y'amagye mu Mozambique nga bagibugenda amagye, they are not killing, it is the police, So if we reach a moment where the police is either the police or the army, one of them is not killing people, that is a certain point of victory somewhere, where some groups are not brutal, others are the one on the forefront. Maybe some groups are not, but depending on the discipline of the people in action, there's no way how you can kill someone that has not threatened you if you don't have any problem with the protesters. And my point is, there are so many people in that state actors, as this James says, there are so many state actors who don't have any problem with you and me protesting, as long as I have not threatened their life or I have not gone to another level of maybe what he expects. So we also have to respect that. There are so many people who are tired, including in the forces, but they just want to see how serious we are, how consistent we are. Someone called Violencer. The chief of violence, I think maybe that's the meaning. Violence, are you there? Can you speak? All right, Mukasa, please have the mic then if you are ready. Good girl, if you are there and have something to say. Anyone, please just unmute and speak. I think Violence is not able to speak. Can also request the mic.
Maybe let me add on something you have mentioned. When you mention the name of somebody, you run to their profile. You see his picture. He has a gun pointing at somebody, and that's a message. That's a message. So if he doesn't speak, his message is in the profile. And that's what does he mean? Either he's violent or he will bring violence to you. That's what you get from that profile picture. But just like we have mentioned, actually the protest that you started, the March to Parliament protest almost took center stage, because we had brought in business people. You were able almost to speak almost to other sector actors, and they had come in. And that's the only thing you need. That's the tipping point. That if the day you'll get doctors to act. And the doctors to act sometimes takes just something simple. Either the violence occurred somewhere and they were overwhelmed with the work and they can't work. Sometimes you saw when COVID-19 hit, doctors they were overwhelmed with the work. So there's something that must disrupt the status quo of doctors or teachers and what have you. Something must happen. So usually the violent person makes sure he clears way for state actors to continue acting. Are you able to block roads so that maybe business stops? Are you able just so that you can bring the state actors into action. And in Uganda, I think we have not reached that level where doctors say we are tired of seeing gunshot wounds. Most of them turn it into a business. When you are killed somewhere, the doctors, most clinics are operational, they run for you, they want just to make money. You want to reach a level where somebody feels for a person who has been shot and comes from a doctor who says, no, this is enough, we can't continue. Because that's how people act. State actors sometimes just speak on an action that has a moral. That's why if I was saying play that video, the demoralization where people, for example, Chitezi, we have mentioned all these things, how people can't even say Chitezi is enough to start us. And you would say no. But they ended up again capturing them instead of arresting them to pretend. The government is again pretending, and so that the citizens don't see the mistake that government is. So you need someone who will be that conscious. Said no, maybe they have killed this person, and the doctors also feel it. Maybe yes. Just look at you study the violence, not the violence, the protests that have been there. How do they start? Tunisia, where did it start from? A young man just got tired and went and blew himself because he had been arrested selling tomatoes. And of course, it touched. There must be a nerve center, which we're still lacking, that will bring out state actors. And so you are like, we need these Ugandan doctors or nurses, teachers. Will they ever rise up because of their leader? Their leader is touched. And Museveni has played a lot of politics because sometimes when they say, now the elite class fears losing power, and I've sent you those things several times. The elite class look at these young people who come up and they call them hooligans. Now the word hooligans is a catch statement that rings on their mind. So who is a hooligan? Somebody who will come and grab your thing. And so when you ask this question also, that why does Bobi Wine say don't be violent? Because now you know he's leading a group that they will look at people who will do this. But still we are looking for that person who is going to cause state actors to come out. So your violence man there, let if he doesn't speak, just know he has a message
Violence,
for you. Look at his
violence. Are you able to speak? If you don't speak, then I'll just Angie?
No, really, I want to speak. Hello, everyone.
Okay. Violence, please go on.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
I hope you guys are having a good day wherever. Yeah. So, to start with, I'm not a noob fan. I'm not a noob supporter. I'm not an NRM supporter. Previously, I used to be a very big fan of FDC. And as everyone knows here, the opposition started with FDC person. I was arrested several times in those protests and all that.
All right. I think you got off, so he's off. Someone wanted to speak. Mukasa, are you able to speak? Okay, Wounded Ugandan, you wanted to say something? This is not a noob space, guys. It is not a noob space. It is not a... If any space organized here is not a noob space, noob has its handle called the National Unity Platform. So when I organize something, I'm not organizing for any party or anything. I organize for myself and the people that are going to come. And also the people who were killed, we are not noob supporters. We are not talking about noob here. We're talking about Ugandans who were killed. That's the question also they ask here in the documentary here. That the lady asked, the commentator asks, like, if you say the people were rioters, if you look at Kamiyat and her picture, which has food, does that mean that she was a rioter? She was protesting, or was she rioting? with our food in their hands. Was that young boy Amos, who was shot at Kafumbe Mukasa? Was he rioting? So there are so many. Even the picture that were at Jinja Road where the two girls were shot as they are just balingiza balabe, was that a riot? So we have to grow also in our heads. When we talk about some topics, we are talking about. I even forgot to compliment Wounded Uganda. When Wounded Uganda spoke here, he said people calling the victims of 1819 Noop, you are stupid. They are not Noop people. But because maybe it is the new president who was arrested and the incident happened because of that, that's why Noop takes responsibility to remember them, because no one is going to remember them. But they are not Noop people. Those people, they didn't have political parties because they were not buried under the political party umbrella or any political party. It's not even Noop that organized their burial. We are just individuals. Some of them you find that even they are even supporting NRM. So you'll be there stupid thinking that someone who's going to die in any chaos is going to be an opposition. Then you find yourself that you're among them, or you have someone that is there. So that's why we don't want violence and we don't want politicization of national things. So the moment you politicize it, then you are losing it. It's not a political thing. Wounded Ugandan, please.
Yes, in just a minute. Thank you very much for the opportunity. And I agree with you 100% on those remarks. I won't repeat them. So, nze kyembadde wano neebuuza abagayi. It seems like we all know what Museveni and his system are capable of. We know what.
Okay, you have
sorry,
muted.
sorry. Mute is the Chirabika. I was saying, sorry, I was saying that we seem to have known how Museveni responds to peaceful protesters and people who are a bit exposed to his wickedness. Naye, nze kyenda, but what we do.
What's wrong with your phone?
I think someone is muting Miss Mani. Naye, tujamala mpola mpola. Let me keep on. Kyembadde ngamba nti tumanyi Museveni is capable of violence and extreme violence. But do we know on our side what we are capable of? And don't we want to know? Don't we want to know as citizens what we are capable of? Kubanga, in so many ways, we know what the guy is capable of. You ovayo, I'll data tanka bichibi. Chembuza of the people united, what it can do. That is what I want us to experience, because Museveni's last matchstick oba akability akasembayo yakakozesa dda, and that is the maje his UPDF small boys. If we break that ring, he will be left with nothing. We will be left with no line of defense. Naye wakyatukumidde buli wetu natukuba netuddayo netutya netwetiisatiisa. But if we are united as people, we are yet to experience the mighty power of people power. So kyembadde njagala oba tunuuzeeyo nti tumanyi Museveni kyali capable of, naye ffe twemanyi what we are capable of as the people of Uganda, so that we can even discuss before we even talk about violence. Because nze ndowooza whether violence or non-violent, if Ugandans raise up, Museveni cannot last a week. Museveni talina that capability, guy. Tumuwana nnyo naye, Anyway, that is the question for you, Suna. If you have anything you want to say, because me, I really think we don't know what we are capable of as Ugandans, much as we know what Museveni is capable of as a violent, brutal guy. That's it.
And I mean, I think Museveni actually knows what we are capable of. That's why he's so scared of Ugandans. I think for some reason he knows that what people are actually, capable of. It's us, the people, that are still timid or intimidated to act. But I think he's very much aware of what we actually don't know. Have you ever wondered why he doesn't even allow one person to protest? Even one protester like this, he's so intimidated. One like this, you know. When people say they're going to protest to parliament, you know what takes we know what it takes for a whole president to come and give a national address prior to the protest. It means he's damn scared. Same thing when we announced that we are going to march to 1 million march to get the president or welcome the president in the airport. What did he do? He did not even he had FC but CFC SFC those guys, you know, he had his best military well trained special forces into the airport, into you know, that's how much he's so much scared of the people. That's how much he knows what people are capable of doing. James, your hand is up.
Actually, I wanted to just reinforce what you have said and maybe what Wounded Ugandan has said. You know, Museveni eats fear, moves in fear, sleeps in fear, because do you know the cost of Museveni's security? And then compare it with yours. For you, yours, some of you maybe just said it's a lock on your door. There are some people here, if you chase them, they run in the house and lock the door. That's your security. But Museveni's security tells you how much fear he has. And it's going to take a bit of that demystifying, because I like the way you have put it across. I think you countered Wounded Ugandan immediately, that, you know, it's the opposite. Yes, it's the opposite. The guy knows. You know, he's just like, the day these people lose this fear. Because first of all, it's like if you stop giving a lion meat, if you have been feeding it, the day you don't feed it, it eats you. So Museveni pays a lot of costs to maintain that SFC. You know, those guys also can turn against him. So he pays them a lot. And then after paying them a lot, then he pays the military wear, buying else. Just look at Museveni moving, and then you compare yourself. For you, you're walking, not even with a gun. You're just walking, and you're like, let me go out. The only thing you trust maybe that today I'll come back home. But that guy lives in fear, walks in fear, and sleeps in fear. Just get it properly. And the way good girl you put it, he knows how much people can do. So it's just that you're just waiting for that people should do, everyone should be saying at this on our tier.
James, Ovudeco, I don't know why, but Valen,
I'm done.
Hey, okay, fine. Thank you so much, James. And that was also my response. What good girl said, it's also my response. Atutia, then we understand that Atutia, then we'll do something. Valen, please have the mic. Valen, please have the mic. Yeah. So emphasizing on that, you saw like when we decide to march, Influence was here and said, just again that like when you go to when they arrest you, they ask you, how many are you? You thought you are coming with so many people. Why? Because they know they are anticipating that one day Ugandans will be on the street in millions. So they don't take any chance. They don't take. So it's now up to Ugandans to know these guys are waiting for us one day. But they are waiting. They don't take any chance.
And James, and to think to think they have been doing all this to provoke Ugandans. James omwana wotamuwa mmere yo omusuubira tagenda kaaba. James omwana womukuba emigo omusuubira tagenda kaaba. Naye ate embwa bw'oba bw'ogambye nti a lion, when you don't give the lion the meat, it will eat you. Definitely if it is feeding on lion, it will eat you. kati abadde baprovoking abannayuganda. In fact ndowooza beera nagamba naye bano vuba baabaki. I think they expected even us on the streets earlier than baliza akooye n'okoowa amazima go geego because abikoze byonna. There was a space here when I think, I don't know who was it, some people come here, speak and go, but sometimes I keep some of their statements. Someone said when these people took over government, they were not here to stay for a long time, just like the propaganda says that they're here to stay for 100 years. Because from the way they are doing things, Watunuya Inkwaya Gaddafi, he was here to stay. His plan was to stay. These people have no working plan, have no workbook, have nothing. So these are the people just that like the devil they are, came just to steal, grab a few things, get rich and go. They keep grabbing. That's why they don't have future plans. That's why baringa babbi the nyini omamubbi a grabbing will not come and pick this like ngabogenda mu supermarket with a plan and say, I'm going to pick a rice, I'm going to pick vegetables, I'm going to pick this and this. No, omubbi wajja akuŋŋaanya bukuŋŋaanya kyetaaga nakyeteyanga alabira eyo ng'atuuse nagamba naye kadda kino bannakibi kyaki okitegeera anyakula bunyakuzi kasaawo n'adduka. And this is the regime's whole thing. Grabbing land, grabbing this, grabbing businesses that they cannot even manage, grabbing farms from the government, grabbing this. They don't have actual working plan. So they were not here to stay. Kitegeeza nti bannayuganda ffe ababaleetedde okubeerawo ebbanga eddene. These people expect this. Nti naye bannange kubanga tosaayikiriza muntu lunaku James tosaa kuvuma buli lunaku and you don't expect anything. N'abantu abakuba abakazi amanya nti omukazi ono olumu nja kuba neebasa andiira amazzi azite ajja kumpa omutwa.
Omusajja akuba omukazi teyeebaka bunaku asula bolo zazisibye asiba bolo zazirippye because akimanyi bajja zisala.
Exactly. So you cannot say someone who has opened their mic. I don't know who it is, but we're going to just give me a second. Aine, just give me a second. Just a second, please. Mute your mic for a second. Thank you so much. So, Ugandans, I think we are delaying our own change. These people expect us to come every single day. So James Wagamba, it's up to us. It's up to us. Omuntu samuyikiriza buli lunaku nagana okukola oluguudo, nagana okukola eddwaliro, nagana okuzimba amasomero ne gasangawo n'agoonoona, n'abalangira buli lunaku. Bannange kiki kye tumutalaba? Ndowooza agamba bannaye ate nafuna bano. Anyway, Ayine, take on the
Yes,
mic.
please. Yep. Regarding the theme that's on ground or on the platform, many of us have been talking about our politics, but we less engaging into it. Unlike just using our social media platforms, but we don't have root grounds to where we stand just to foster our thoughts and just implement them into the public. Yes, many of us have tried, we have been arrested, we have been beaten up, but most of you just talk when you're indoors. Kino kitulekawa nti ojasanga obudde obusinga ffe ng'abamu tugezaako kwengeginga in naye bwe wabaawo threats kuba juzi wano nalabaawo omusirikale ng'akuba omulenzi ng'akuta ekipande ekya aspiring president ow'eggwanga naye nga abamwetoolodde just civilians, they are there watching, only just two guys beating up a civilian without even a gun or stone in his arms. You get? So, obudde obusinga nga tetunagamba nti no abantu bajja nyiiga bajja kola batya kigenda kubeera mpaka unless ffe nga twesitukiddemu ne tumanye ekyokukola kyekiriwa kuba enkyukakyuka y'eggwanga egenda tandika naffe of which bwe tudda kiteeka mu bantu okibateekamu nti no okwegugunga kusoboka tubanga bagenda okubeera ku ssomero nga tucomplaininga about the school structures nga bwe ziri naye nga we haven't demonstrated any kind of okubalaga nti no tetuli bamativu.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Okay.
No, Amaliriza Aine, he made his point so precise. And of course, straight to the point there. Thank you so much, Aine. I think that's why also to get about 90 message should maybe wounded Uganda never dagamant. Our message should change. Tell Ugandans exactly what we want, what must be done. Because the other time, good girl Abadagamat, the argument I had with the other lady called that politician, she doesn't have a name. She was saying that Ugandans, they know. And then she was saying, you can't hold the space when you don't know what to do. Then I was telling her that I don't know what to do. I need to be told. I need to be told what to do. So, yes, we have been ruled for all this time and all that, but we don't know what to do, and we should be told what to do. We must know what to do. If I get to know what to do, and then I tell the other person what to do, then the population can be active and then do something. So we shouldn't assume that the Ugandans know what to do. No, Ugandans don't know what to do. If someone on social media doesn't know what to do, how do you expect someone from my village to know what to do? Like what Aine said here, to be like we are speaking and then we move. Speaking, we move. Just like that. Yes, please.
Florence yali agamba nti even our politicians, not only us, our politicians should not assume Ugandans assume that Ugandans know what to do. Era ndowooza ne Florence yakyafasazza yagamba naye mugambe abantu mwagala bakole temugamba nti bamanyi mwagala yes bayogera tukole ki abagambe ABCD. But I'm happy that yesterday I think I posted it a video from Waiswa. He was speaking to the ghetto boys. I don't know if you have a second, I can play it for you, or you can go to my TL and watch it for those who have time. Nga bagamba ekyokukola nti tugenda mu kalulu. Bwe tumala okuba akalulu temukuba bukubi kalulu. Bw'abanga temugenda kuuma kalulu and you're not going to demand for your victory, temutawaana. So I think it is about time we tell people actually what needs to be done. Nti bwe okuba akalulu olina okukakuuma if wabanga bagambye nti polling station eno yesinze oba gundi asinze, you have got to be able to demand your victory, and this goes to every candidate. Obanga wuya toneze bantu kukuuma kalulu na claiming other victory, then do not take them into a lot of danger. Unnecessary danger, unnecessary deaths. It should be worth it. If you are going to die, let's not die in vain. Let us not assume tabantu bamanyi. Lawrence, your hand is up.
Nsonyiwa munnange naye akyeyogedde akantu. I think as well, kirungi okutya abantu. I'm glad nti Waiswa yabadde ayogera I've not seen the video yet. N'abagamba. But I think also more details needed. Demanding for your victory. How? For me, I think more details. Kubanga kati to demand for your victory. Yategeera ki? Dada gwe kyolowooza kyategedde era kyagenda okukola kinyinyi kyagenda okukola. Me, I'm going to give an example. This example, I hope it helps us understand exactly for me what I mean. When we go to school. Let me give an example from senior 1 to senior 4. Okay? They are final exams, senior 4 exams. But we started from senior 1. And every time, I medium class, the teacher stands in the class and he explains, gives teachers directive to the students. He does not assume these students know, oh, you go study by yourself and everything. He teaches the students what to do, what is expected, what they should know. That does not stop there. There is beginning of term exams. There is mid-term exams. There is end of term exams. There is end of, year exam, senior 1. You got something senior 2, something senior 3, something senior 4. In fact, why you want more exams before the end of, the final end of O-level exams? And this is where the problem is. Okay, for me, if we compare the two, the thing is that we have the to sit on the same platform, decide on what to do so that we all are sure we know what to do. That's number one. Number two, when we are we were trying to do multi-parliament, it's like a test. Because Ugandans, we have never done an appraising. We have never. So it's just not thinking that it will be automatic, that people will just rise up in large numbers and demand for their victory when it happens. It's unrealistic. To be honest, it's unrealistic. Ugandans have never done that. So this is a process. Like we did, for us, we started, most of the people here on this platform, we started because we know it is a process. You can't come much to parliament. Few people protested. But again, you see, number of people protested the first, second time, and then it went down. You see? So it means we need more. Now, when you hear, there are many people who are against people raising up different categories. They're saying we should wait for the election. I think for me, that is wrong. That's a wrong approach. We have to have tests. Just like Dr. James talked about, different state actors. Doctors have not protested. Teachers, when they protest for 1 day, 2 days, they take the top guys, give them money. That's the end. I think we have to look into this in our preparation, because thinking that we are going to do the last minute, that when people will raise up the last minute, and claim their victory, I think that is overreaching. Okay, so this is like the example I've given, senior. No one waits to do the final exam as the first exam. You do senior 2, senior 3, senior 4 preparation. And by the way, some students even fail senior 4 even after going through that preparation. But just assume, I imagine if they didn't even go through the preparation. So yes, I am glad that the teaching at least is starting, but details matter.
Kasa tuina lecturer waffe Florence wano. Tuina lecturer waffe Florence. I know you have unmuted your mic. I don't know if you have to speak. Please use 1 minute, then we will go to Mukasa.
Okay. For this matter, sometimes I will just have to say victory isn't by luck. It's something that has started through dreaming, proceeded into a state of an idea, later on a plan. We should first of all thank the NUP party itself. It has at least tried to convey and make us engaged into politics. According to the previous days or years back. So my point of view is demanding for victory is okay. And I personally, I believe in that. But how are we prepared besides the NUP structure? Like we, not the not NUP, it's NUP itself as a party. By this I mean, ojasanga obudde obusinga ife abantu nga ffe abantu tulina okubeera nga tuli supportive eri NUP. Naye bwe tusanga nti tuli so supportive eri NUP naye nga ffe abantu nga tetulina strategies oba plan ze tugenda kugoberera ng'obudde ku ziri eza NUP, kuba NUP ejja gazeetinga ekintu ekiteeke mu ddiiro nti kino kye tugenda otambulirako. Ne trust me kisanga yeetegese ng'ali wano ku ground ng'alina plan A up to the Z. Nti NUP wali waggulu omulabe waayo oba opponent waayo bw'aba amaze otegeera nti structure plans zaabwe ze zino. Ono omuntu ali ku ground gwe tuteeseteese akyalina plan mpaka ku supportinga NUP. Kweri last minute kino nkijjawa oba nkikopa ku ki? Nina mikwano gyange giri eyo Ethiopia. Ebiseera ebiwedde we baali nga balina obutabanguko mu ggwanga lyabwe bwatandika butya. Baleeta strategies zaabwe ku kweyo political party eyali eyagala olulinga mu biseera ebyo, ne bazireeta ne baziteeka ku board, ku platform, ensi yonna n'ezimanya. of which opponent wamala okumanya nti ogenda kukola plan A up to Z obudde obusinga agezaako okulaba nga azavoidinga nga bukyali nga tayagala mutuukirize kiri kye muba muyina eimu gye muba mufunye. Naye bano abantu batandika okustructuringa wansi okuva wansi mu bwalo nga buli wosanga kansala ow'ekitundu ekya political party eri yali eyagala okujjako gundi eyali efuga by then nga buli kansala waayo ow'ekyalo alina abalenzi 10 balina okutuuza n'abagamba nti tugenda kukola kino ne kino ne kino eno plan bw'eba efeirinze. Trust me, kyova amwalaba obwatuuka nga buli muntu ali biased ku muntu eyali agezaako okutaba Nancy naye n'awanika kuba yali takyalina control. Kati wano we wajjira obuzibu nti ffe ojja kusanga nga ku mitimbagano twogera tulaga obutali bumativu bwaffe. Naye in actual sense, in reality, we haven't done anything that even just is almost attached to what we want. Ojja kulaba tukonya just gwa kutambuza posts ku mutimbagano. Naye nga in reality, weetaagisaayo abantu abagenda okubeerawo mpaka ku last minute. Nti bwe tuba nga tutandise Kampala nti kikutte, ne Masaka kitandike, ne Lukunjiri kitandike, Kasese kitandike, eri mu kyalo oba yewa kitandike, tekirina kukoma mu kibuga kyokka. Kuba tulina amagye mu ggwanga naye tegasobola kulwana nsi yonna. Naye bwe tugamba nti no tugenda twogere ku bintu tugenda birekawo nga tebiri bikole ate nga tetulina kye twakozeewo yadde. Kyentegeeza kye kiriwa ebiseera ebizze tubadde nga tulaba ntino Besigye agezezaako okukunga abantu bazeeko ku makubo babakubye tiyagasi bakoze batya ne bikomaawo mu kibuga. Naye ng'eno mabbali w'ekibuga nga tebiriiyo lwabalabiseko mu bantu ng'agenda kukola obalaalizi biki lwe bibeerayo. Twandikoze kiri waffe ng'abantu abali ku ground. Tuleke NUP etambuze strategy.
Yes, Aine, we lost you, so I don't know if you're still speaking. We can't hear you. Aine, ochayogera simanyi oba oyogera, but we can't hear you. You're making a great submission. So nenga simuwulira simanyi oba good girl omuwulira.
And I think he has network issues. Nange simuwulira.
Okay, fine. We have heard is something so something we have to reflect on. Also, of course, Katinei katubogamba nti nze wano where do I go, for example, from here? Maybe Mukasa or good girl, do we have that kind of influence to do all that? So that's why it involves a lot of collective responsibility. Ate nawe kenyini obadde honest nokyogera nti even the leaders themselves. So we don't want to go there, Nenga. It's some reality there. Mukasa, please have the mic.
Thank you, James. Sorry, I had some network issues. Greetings to everyone. Good girl, webale kujukira statement nze nagikola ogambye nti waliwo omuntu yakola statement space sometime back nti these people never had a plan, they never came to lead us, they were thieves. I made that statement nti nagamba nti abasajja tebaali beetefutefu kulembera, not that nti baali balina ekigendererwa kyabwe baali balowooza nti basobola okulembera, but not for many years. So baamanya nti because tebaalina nnyo magezi, tebaalina ideas ya bukulembeze, tebaalina strategies like nga bono settinga a 10-year program, tebaagirina. Baalina mentality ya kubba because baali babbi from the start okuviira ddala mu nsiko baali babbi. So baalina mentality ya kubba for 4 years or 5 years, then they run away. Kyebaalina, I made that statement. So bagenda okukizuula nga be babba tebanyega nga bw'onogamba nti twazize ne tubba ebintu naye
bagwa kubeeba
bagwa kubeeba
basanga tuli wakweba kalifoomu tuli wakweba kalifoomu bajjo
ne bagamba nti naye kyetukola ekyokugamba nti tubbe tudduke tusobola okubba ate nga bwe tusigala. So they started stealing and then stealing and stealing and stealing. So it never ended. And tetwayina simanyi baatukwata batya obujega naye nga baatukwata obujega si
abatono abazuukuka okuba enduulu babakwata ku mwa ne bagamba ne tukuba nduulu ebyobugagga bibino wano toleekaana jangu twaleko byotwala.
buli eyagezangako okuleekaana baamusonsekanga omugaati era eyagaananga okulya omugaati yabanga abeera neutralized baamwejjangawo. Naye nga bakikola ddi okutandika okugjawo abantu n'okupakira abantu emigaati nga babbye nnyo nga balina emigaati gy'oggabako naye nga bebagabira bebabyeko bebawa ebitaano ne bamugamba nti tukusiima okubanga okoze bulungi naye nga talina kyeyakoze. So what can we do? I don't know. I have a lot of words. I want to talk about power. I want to talk about violence. I want to talk about how to eradicate violence and everything. Katonda antase. None of us can undo what we've done or to live a life already recorded. We've made a lot of mistakes. We've looked at while people are taking away everything that we own. But some of us, or me, after reading so many books, after learning some dynamics of nature and natural law, after listening and watching some great documentaries, if all this taught me anything at all, it was this. There is no such a thing as too late in life. So we might be trying to save ourselves, but we are not late. We shall certainly save ourselves. We have a world besieged of violence. We are genetically predisposed to engage in aggressive behaviors to survive. That is Museveni. So Museveni is trying to survive. All the violence he put up, everything he's trying to do now. Museveni is not looking for riches, is not looking for ages, like he's not healthy, I think. Like physically, he's not physically healthy that I have to learn out. I have to do some physical exercises to gain some good body for girls to see me. Museveni is no longer looking for that. Now Museveni is looking for survival. So in doing so, he sees everything as something that is going to take away his survival. And we should not stop trying to tell him that you're seeing it as a survival, but we also need to survive. Violence is acquired. A learned behavior is a cultural phenomenon. So anything that can be learned, it can be unlearned. So you see, studies shows that even harmless individuals can easily be programmed to inflict violence to others. The worst part is people can be taught to inflict violence to others even without no reason, without a motive. That's why sometimes naliko wano nembabuuza nti bwe muba mulaba videos z'abasirikale nga bakuba abantu nga bakuba abaana abato nga bakuba n'abakyala nga babasambisa engatte ezirimu ebyuma zi desert ezo ez'abasirikale, what comes to your mind? What do people do or tell those individuals in uniform to do such acts to their own people? Actually, they just program them. You can. We are just animals. We are species. We can be turned out. We can be turned into anything. Someone can just put you somewhere. Example y'abantu abakola ba suicide bombers. Omuntu akuteeka ewantu n'akuconvincinga that if you go and you blow up that building, you're going to heaven. And we can take that crap and then we turn out to be suicide bombers. So they can teach us violence. Museveni has done that to the subjects. And because he wants power, some insidious forms of violence can be fueled by relentless pursuit of power. Museveni is pursuing power relentlessly. The rationale that the end is justify the means. So what has Museveni done to us? Deprivation. Like, I don't know how to explain the statement of Ugandans not trying to act because we are deprived. Economic and institutional violence can be the most damaging forms of trauma in the world today. Social disparities in healthcare, housing, education, environment, employment, and other social goods. Decimate families. These savage inequalities force migration and result in devastation and catastrophe. Uganda is now devastated. We are in a catastrophic situation. How can we eradicate violence in a situation like ours? Violence can be mitigated and eradicated by kindness, honesty, mutual understanding, peaceful coexistence, reducing economic, social, racial and gender disparities, empowerment, inclusion, and ending exploitation. Guys, if you look at Museveni's government, the people he's leading with, the people, is Museveni capable of the above things? Is Museveni capable of sitting down and be kind to Ugandans? Can Museveni be honest to us? Because you all know, most of you have talked about that Museveni is a great liar. A person who deceives, a person who lies to himself can't be honest to people. Can Museveni think about peaceful coexistence? Can Museveni think about reducing economic separation and anything? Is Museveni empowering people? Can Museveni include others into the leadership of Uganda? Because whoever wants to advise Museveni becomes a threat. So Museveni doesn't deal in inclusion. And will Museveni end exploitation? He will certainly not. So if Museveni cannot do the above, are we sure that we are going to eradicate violence in Uganda? My answer is no. Because the factors that can help us to eradicate violence are unapplicable in Uganda for now. Can we sit on a round table with a label who don't even think about his own people? We certainly can't. So what do we have to do? And are we able to fight back? Because in everything, the solution I have for you and Ugandans and anyone who still has sense in his head is fighting back. We don't have anything else. We are not going to sit on a table. We are not going. There is no time that Museveni is going to end exploitation. There is no time that Museveni is going to end violence. There is no time that Museveni will think about peace. Is not going to empower us. Is not going to include us. We are just going to fight back. So after fighting back, after trying to do what Museveni does, so we are going to be violent. We might not like to be violent, but the situation will drive us there. Slowly, Bobi Wine is not going to tell us that you people be violent. The situation, what Museveni is doing, what they are doing to us, will certainly take us there. And you have to be very, 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 very ready for that because it is coming. So, Doctor talked about something to include other actors in the struggle. Doctor, I'm sorry, you have a mic. I have a question for you. What or how can we include other actors in the struggle of liberating Uganda. Because to my understanding, everything that could deter anyone into fighting for the liberation or for the good governance has happened to each and every actor in our country. If we talk about the medics or doctors, nurses, and everyone who fall under med category, the worst paid doctors are in our country. The worst paid nurses are in our country. Okay, the medics who are living the worst life are in Uganda. Let us talk about teachers. What are teachers being? How are they being paid? I will not talk about the farmers of Uganda, the most suppressed people. Can we talk about the people who are doing fishing or the businessmen in Chikubo? The worst people who are thriving, I think they are thriving on loans. Uganda has the worst business strategy as far as the citizen is concerned. So, if the doctors, if the teachers, if the businessmen, the farmers, they are all under the same boat, what can we tell them? Or what can we do for them to understand it? But you guys see, you're in our boat. Because it would have been a situation, it would have been the poor salaries, it would have been the poor way of living and everything that could tell them that you guys, you need to join these young people who are talking about it. Because Wazaine said that this is a process. We have to be very, very, very keen and gradually thinking about what we are doing. But success is not just for a day. We prepare for success. But how are we going to prepare for success if the people that are supposed to join us, they are not seeing that we are unsuccessful? When even all of the signs, all of the situation, the environment is telling them that you people, you're not successful, you need this and this and this. But if they are not seeing it, it's very, very, very fortunate that some of us, me, you, and others, are seeing it. So freedom is always started by not very many people. The very few with sane mind that can put up a fire and the fire keeps burning. We are not going to stop, but I want to prepare you that you be prepared that violence is going to be part of us. And when violence comes, the only solution we have is to fight back. And you can't fight back violence when you're not violent. So at the end of the day, it's not going to be Bobi Wine to tell us. It's not going to be Waiswa, not Joel Osenyonyi to tell us that you be violent. It will be mistakes. It will be something that happens. People are saying that we are waiting for we are waiting for something. We are waiting for a start, and then we join. No, we are not going to wait for a start. This what we are doing is something that is very incredible. We are not going to stop. Someone is telling us to go to the ground to start teaching people what exactly, to tell them exactly what to do. But in Museveni's government, that one is suicidal. You very well know. We shall keep calling people to come and join us. And with the time, I'm very sure we shall gain our freedom. But we are going to gain that by fighting back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lawrence, for that submission. I don't know if my host, my co-host is there, and if you are there, please just let me know. Yeah, probably when you get back, good girl, you let me know that you are there. Thank you so much, Mukasa, for your submission. Guys, you can request for the mic. we continue with this conversation. The people who died in 2020 were not protesters or were not rioters. That should never leave your mind. They were just on their own things and just on their own, doing their own things. That is a testimony that we have seen. You've seen the videos. You have seen. You have had so many testimonies of people talking about how they survived and all that. So just know that violence can claim anyone. State violence or anything can claim anyone that is not probably engaging in violence. So, Kwizera, you requested for the mic. I'm not sure if you're able to speak because I'm not seeing you among the speakers. Dada, you will speak, and then Kwizera will speak after. Yes, Dada.
Yes, thank you, Suna. I thought I would take up the mic now, and I've been listening to all the speakers up to Mukasa, and I've heard the concerns of violence, and everyone was trying to weigh in on it. But let me first start with just a simple dictionary definition of violence. It is just behavior involving physical force intended to hurt, damage, or kill someone or something. So that is, I think that's the context everyone was trying to project violence. So I don't feel like there's any protester who went out there to hurt anyone. And if someone goes on the road and they just, let's say, burn tires or stop traffic from moving. If someone just goes and sits in the middle of the road, 5 of you go and sit in the middle of the road, I don't think that will be regarded as violence, as long as you're not aiming to hurt, any other individual. And I'd also like to keep you comrades remembering that there are limits to everything. Museveni can kill, but he also knows that he has a limit. So our job is just to make sure that we increase the activity of Ugandans and make sure as many of them can engage, and then it will leave him no room of trying to kill everyone. But let me read something here from our website foreignpolicy.com, and they're talking about Uganda. They're trying to analyze the geopolitics, but this was written in November of 2021. They say Uganda in 2018, during protests in the capital, arrived at the spot where a man had been shot to death just an hour before. Locals showed me pictures of his blood-stained body. The police would later say he was killed by a stray bullet, in quote and unquote stray bullet. But it already looked as though nothing had happened at all. Border drivers leaned on their motorcycles. Women bent over charcoal stoves. Young men gathered around Ludo boards, slapping down pieces with a familiar crack. State violence has become normalized in Uganda's capital. Exactly a year ago, on November 18, 2020, opposition leader Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, was known as Bobi Wine, was arrested in the country's eastern district of Luuka for violating COVID-19 rules while campaigning for the presidency against incumbent dictator Yoweri Museveni. In the ensuing unrest, with nationwide protests, get that word well, nationwide, not just Kampala, police and soldiers killed, this is the reported number, 54 people, That's the reported number, but we all know the real number or the extent of the numbers. Many of whom weren't even protesting. Yet no security officers have been prosecuted for their actions, and no compensation has been paid. There are only the quiet tears of victims, families, and if you know where to look, the bullet holes in the walls. This has all happened before. When Museveni, then a rebel soldier, was sworn in as president 35 years ago, he said, "No regime has the right to kill any citizen." But since then, he has regularly crushed urban unrest with brutality. His security forces killed at least 40 people in the Buganda riots, and that is not the right number, guys. When you see 40, multiply it by 4 or by 5. In the Buganda riots of 2009, at least 9 people in the walk to work protests. It's 9 times 5, that's around 40 people that were killed in the walk to work protests of 2011, and at least 6 people after Wine's arrest in 2018. So 6 times 5, that's about 30. Last week, we met Hajara Nachito, whose 15-year-old son, Amos Segawa. Remember, this was written in 2021. I don't want you to forget. So the writer says they met Nachito, whose 15-year-old son, Amos Segawa, was killed during last year's protests. He was a bright boy, she said, who liked soccer and dancing. His school had been closed due to the epidemic, so he was helping her in the clothes shop where she worked. They closed early to escape the chaos downtown and were walking to a taxi park when an army vehicle sped past. A soldier shot Segawa in the head. The state has done nothing to help Nachito despite video evidence of what happened. She paid for her son's burial and post-mortem. Can you imagine? Every day for a week, she went to a police headquarters seeking compensation, sometimes walking 7 miles, since she could not afford transportation fares. When she finally met a senior officer, he told her to go to court. She did, but the hearing has been postponed twice because the judge was on leave. You see? In Parliament, in April, she staged a lone protest outside Parliament and met with Rebecca Kadaga, then Speaker of Parliament. Now, when she calls the number she was given, no one answers. Kadaga gave her a phone number to call. When she called the number, no one was answering. Tugende maaso. Nachito was away from the shop so often that she lost her job. She had no money left for rent, so her landlord kicked her out and seized her belongings. Ever since I lost my child, no one from the government has come out to help. She told me in the village where she now stays with relatives, it has always been me looking for them. That is as far as I can go about the situation we are talking about today. You know, the injustice of the system and the use of violence. And for me, I feel like we cannot respond back with violence. That is my take. Because our preparation for that will need to take a lot of time to prepare an army that comes to fight against Museveni. So I've heard a lot of people, discussing about the violence issue, and we just have to acknowledge that the only person with violence or that uses violence as a tool is the state. We all agree it is the state that is using violence as a tool. So our only way of turning their fire off is to get enough water, to get enough people who are brave enough to not just even talk about it, but walk the talk, protest peacefully, because these are the only tools that we are left with to protest. And some people say that it is hard because no one is going to accept to die in trying to change this government. But I disagree. A lot of people are willing and ready. Some people say we have to go and try to convince more Ugandans from wherever they are to try and join the struggle. I feel like that is like directing water in a river where to go. That is where they are headed. This is where every Ugandan is headed. Whether we push them or we don't push them, this is the direction. And people who are disputing the election period and it being the spark, you are just trying to deny what has been proven way back, that elections are where the spark comes from. You can decide to be angry about it and try to make sure you wake up Ugandans before an election, but that is how things are, and that is how things are right now. We just have to do our small parts and prepare for what is coming, because what is coming is going to be violence against the group of Ugandans. We just pray that there are so many, or we just work as hard as possible to see that there are so many people who will be on that side, who are willing to put their bodies online, onto the streets, peacefully walking, but ready to be shot in the head, ready to take casualty, because these are not things that are unique to only Uganda. We've seen Kenyans, they were shot, they were killed in the head. We've seen bodies. Last month they were commemorating, and they were showing pictures of people who died in those struggles. We just have to get out there, those who can, and we just have to make sure if we can uplift as many people as possible, then do that. But we have a chance. For me, I believe that in this coming election, we have a chance of a magnetic guy, of a guy who has put his life on the line, and he's a huge magnet. Like, he's a blessing. You think you can go to Owino Market and tell people about their separation and how you can solve it, and they listen to you? Because people have tried it. People have gone to border stages. You try to talk to borders of the situation they are going through. Of course, it's them going through every day. They are going through it every day, and they suffer every day. So me, I believe we just have sometimes to calm down a bit, and try to reason with a lot, without putting a lot of sentiments. And I feel like this coming period, just tag around the magnets that we have right now. Forget about the rest. It's Bobby Wine, my brothers and sisters. It is him. Because if it is anyone else, we would be knowing by now. But that's the guy. We just have to tag around him, support him. He's the reason as to why the government is going to make a mistake. And when the government makes a mistake, he's the one that can spur, so many people to join the riot and put their lives on the line. And that's my feeling. But I might be wrong. Probably there might be something else, And for me, that is what I'm ready for. There might be something else that will cause a spur in this country. So what we just have to do is apply the pressures that we can. Where you feel that you can apply the pressure, apply it, Apply that pressure, and let's see, how it will make the government make mistakes. But I feel like they are bound to make so many mistakes, and I feel like this is it. This is this curve we are going into. Someone says 13 months. Someone said 13 months. That period is going to be very key. It's going to be very key. We just have to be on our toes. We just have to be ready, activated, and applying the pressures where we just have to be applying the pressures. Otherwise, I want to call upon everyone on this platform to try as much as possible, if you can physically, you try and attend, this commemoration that's going to happen tomorrow. The commemoration is going to be at the NUP offices in Kavule, but you could be in one day here, it could be something simple, you just have probably to be somewhere and show that you're commemorating. Don't forget to also post these and do the hashtags, because that is a way for us to remind everyone and even the system that the same mistake cannot be done again. And I feel like they have almost overrun all the things they can do, all the violence, and I feel like they're also on the wall and they have a limit. So once we keep back and we also are giving them a chance, I feel like we have to be proactive. We have to be on the roads. We have to be proactive in this coming election period. Be proactive. If you can, contest. And when you're contesting, that is the opportunity for you to get the opportunity to go and meet people on stages and talk to them. You talk to them, but the message that you should be sending to them. I feel like this is the best way for anyone who thinks like they can activate Ugandans to do it in your area, wherever you are. It is perfect. The election period, you join it, you try to do as much as you can to change Ugandans. And that is my whole take on this whole issue. But otherwise, let us try as much as possible, guys. Tomorrow, those who can, we be there. We show support, because such when people see such things, they get to know that, I will literally not have died in vain. And that is so important. It is so important to everyone, because everyone fears to die in vain. You just die in vain. But if we build a culture of people who are brave and can face the authorities that are taking over a country at any particular time, and we give them that kind of treatment. We pray for them, because everyone that was shot during that riot are the people who actually supposed to be praying for on Heroes Day. But NRM will tell you, no, the killers in Luero in the 80s are the heroes, So these are things I think we can do for now. Try to change the narrative. Try as much as possible to do the little things we can. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dada, for that detailed submission again. Someone has requested also for the mic. Is it Mutama? Please have the mic. Is it Robert? Emmanuel? Emmanuel, please have the mic. I don't know if you're able to speak. I've given you the mic. Please speak. Yeah, of course, we'll have more. Like before, we used to have a general peak. Remember, we used to have a candle. There was a time that we had a candle. I don't know this time the one that was designed. So I have seen some of the pics in the comment section there, but I'm seeing them for the first time today. So I didn't know if they have been moving. Normally, before we used to have this as a general profile pic someone can use to remember the victims. The victims of okay. There's one in the comment section. November 18th. November 18th. So you
James,
can
I
use
think
it.
the one that you see in the comment section was designed by NOP for the memorial service of tomorrow. But I think we will be using the same old one for those, like the one the Wounded Ugandan has. I think is the one we're going to be using, because this has the program for tomorrow for Kavule. memory service. So it is not like the general profile picture that people can use unless people crop a bit of information that is on that same flyer.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. The one that we used, I think, just bring back up people. The Wounded Uganda one is having, yeah, and there's another one that used to have a candle. Probably that one we used it in 2022. So, but yeah, Black November. Okay, so request for the mic if you need to contribute. Our discussion has been so wide, of course, talking about the November riots and the massacre, but also trying to picture what may come in 2026 and how the elections might be, and our plans, strategies as a country, in case things have to turn against us. Yes, Mukasa again.
Yeah, I need 1 minute. I want to add something on the topic 4 years now, no justice for victims of 18-19 November. Actually, one time we heard something similar to this, and I said that all Ugandans need justice. In whatever we do, we are going to remember the lost lives in this brutal government, and we don't promise them justice in the current situation. No one can get justice in an unjust society. So we can just tell them, whoever out there that is suppressed, killed, and anything, that one who can keep. We are a very, very, very lucky generation that we are in a generation of information which you can't delete, information which you can't hide. So everything is on the screens, in the voices. If you watch the 3 Killings documentary of BBC Africa, there is no way everyone who watched that documentary knows Tracker 17. We know the 3 government vehicles that were moving around with their mirrors down, shooting people. We know the number plate of Tracker 17. And we might even get lucky that by the time we shall want to put them to account for their actions, even technology will favor us that we will even find their identity. Technology can help us do that. Because if we don't know, the government can't tell us the people who are those soldiers who were on Tracker 17. But we have the photo, we have all the thing, all the entire vehicle and the people in the video. So we shall even get to use the technology to find their identity, and then they will count. Not now, not in their era, but I'm very sure that those people will come to book. And I'm not going to tell people that we are going to get justice in an unjust society. That's what I wanted to say. We just pray for them, for the souls and everything. And we pray that when time is right, they will.
No government. Yeah, no government. Okay. Dala Uganda yo.
Uganda is a death trap, banange. How?
No government yo. Just no government Uganda olemwa. Just no komao because simanyi kumanya. Like oba okyali ku kino ogenda okola n'ekirala nga kizze nga nakyo tebakikoze. You know?
These guys are not doing even the bare minimum. The bare minimum. Okay, aba emergency nawo ne bakulemerera. Kati bana abasajja bo.
Atenga si bangi. And these people are rich. Waliwo failure osobola okugamba nti omusajja yali mukulembeze eggwanga ne lyavuwala n'alemererwa. Naye amazima Katonda mu ggulu bana abasajja bagaga musale bagaga balwaboogo. At least go mu nsawo ye ya personal pocket nga lwaboogo ogambe let me take care of the people asobola okukikola. Those are animals.
ozibikiriza ekituli kya gavumenti yo kubanga era waliwo opposition akola ebintu kuzibikiriza tuli biri mu opposition naye wa bana he'd rather call musicians abawe billions naye nga talabidde bantu because those people who are banned are less than 100 people baba demerera bati honestly less than 100 people less than 50 people less than 20 people
Kristo kuwadde dozola kwegamba nti Uganda n'ogamba naye nga kyosogera ekinene nnyo nti olemwa that oba toyina kwongerako olaba ebintu olaba bano bakaaba ogamba toyinaawo samwe oli aŋŋambye nti zinulidde abantu toyina kyabba you don't power toyina anything sente abantu nga just omuntu gamba bigenda off naye wammwe ofe you know so nakumanya bano
ate nga bagenda bafe kubanga tujjukira ogwo omuliro abasinga they had a big percentage of their bodies burnt nti babadde sustained okuwaka omuddwaliro definitely bagenda kufa infection bagenda zikola batya dehydration bagenda gikola batya definitely they are going to die era babagambye bagende bafe most chances of survival are very few but Uganda is just a death trap a very death pit hole like in some sort of we're like some sort of animals that abandoned, not even seen as in his own mortalities, was protecting against poachers, but just like random animals that no one cares about. How do you tell someone who is sick, go home? We cannot take care of you. Why? Where is the budget? We've passed the budget. We're not even halfway into the financial year. We're not even halfway there. So where is the money? Did they build a new hospital? Did they buy new ambulances? Where is the money?
They are rescuing Iroko, 500 billion. You can imagine, you can't look for the sick people and you're rescuing a company, a foreign company.
Munasonyiwa okuyitawo nga sisabye mugamba nti nno balina ssente naye tebayamba ku bantu. Noonyerezaako Rwanda wano eno mu COVID oba ba individuals kweyo family tekuli yagenda n'akwata billion each biri mu likodi buli kwabo bwe mulaba abo ka family ako omuntu omu on personal will n'akwata billion oba yagijjawa n'awa Abanyarwanda abatali mu Uganda wabula Rwanda
bakwata ne taxpayers money yali tumwebaze either tumwebaze oyo omusajja yamblockinga
not only one person
yakwata ya taxes there's also taxpayers money they took okuddukira abantu b'e Rwanda taxpayers money. I don't know about the personal money but it's on record waliwo yakwata se taxpayers money n'azitwala
okitegeera nti if bo olaba nga bw'oba ogenze ku kyeyo nti bw'oba ofuna ssente z'okukyeyo you care less gavumenti gy'wagenda okukolera ku kyeyo niwe beefunye ebizibu okitegeera gwe kasita otwala ssente wammwe ne oba ogula bintu ebibyo mweyo ensi mwotali ogula weebalirira ogamba kati we mba nzire waka bino mbitwalawa be bantu abo abali mutukulembera mukutufuga nti they care less about gye bajja okukuba ekyeyo where they came to rob but bakeyalinga nnyo eri ewaabwe so ekyo kijjeewo nti omugamba mbu balaba abantu bali bubi simanyi omuliro gwabookeza tebafaayo balina ssente my dear bwe tutalisituka nga tukyayogera ebyo ebintu nga tetusituse
Musajja yatugamba buli omu is a potential victim. Leero mbadde ndaba wano abalaalo nga bakaaba babagobye ku ttaka simanyi kandi oyo gwe bateekako sanction oyo nga yabagobye ku ttaka ne ngamba olaba omulaalo atuuse okukaaba. Embwa mbutuufu etuuse n'erya emmwanyi. Mbatunuulidde ne ngamba naye mmwe nga nabo se bali mu kukaaba nekisesa nga bakaaba ne mu Luganda. Tujja kutuuka n'ennimi tujja zoogera nga bawuya n'olunyankwerero by'abataasa ko bo kabakaabeko mu Luganda naye nga na Luganda nalwo is not Luganda linguweero ne ngambako oyo mwajja kiwulira Kristo akazindaalo kako naye nga wano baabawo kattiro ate nga buli mwajja kiwulira mukkirize mugaane ng'omusajja alina amagana g'ente kale musonyi oseka ng'omusajja alina amagana g'ente ali ku mpingu wabula tayita na poliisi wabula bannange mubintere ku TikTok munyame mbiteeke ku Twitter.
Kambuuzeemu katono bannaaye wano ku X1 waliwo page emu eriko Kiseka market is it ekuba nnyo enkyukakyuka naye sinnalaba kifaananyi na kimu kyepositinga ku mukoko eyakulukuse olw'omwala gwe baazibikira. Page eyo yaani epositinga nnyo nonsense naye simanyi yaani sinnalaba kifaananyi na kimu ku buzibu abamu Kiseka bwe baliko naye epositinga bwetuuka ku epositinga olaba ne earpods z'omukulembeze. Naba ebintu ebimu byayonka mabeere ga mbizi ebintu ebiri essential ebintu ebirabibwako mwana
Obusengu nga muyina bulungi olani temuyomba nze nabagamba tugatuuka ekiseera nga ffe bannayuganda ffe kizibu kyaffe ffeffe nnyini nga weekwa mufe emirundi 10 n'ogamba naye ensi yange ngikoledde kinganze ekyamazima nga tolina muleke batuvuga ekigaali wetunabira nga tukola otukulugusa buli omwana akoladde needful ekyokukola tukimanyi buli omu asiriikidde gyali. Bannayuganda twagala nnyo obulamu bwaffe ensi yaffe buli omu alowooza Uganda ekoma ku ye kabatukalakate kabatuwuube till we tulikowa abanaafa baffe nze Uganda sikyakaabira bizibu byayo mu ndaba wano ensi yange njagala tugenda kawa tunaatuusa kozi kana akaseera ke tulimu we are our own saviors bwe tutaaveeyo nga tulina Kyagulanyi aduumire kiki kyemutalaba nina mukulembeze nga ngambe akugamba eki bannange nase kwebaza kusooka kubuza so naye wakuteekangawo space good girl weebaleka kubeera ko host nindaba wa resigns olwaleero Dr. James webale kubeerangawo ba speakers mwebale kubeerangawo the listeners mwebale mukola omulimu gw'amaanyi gwa ttendo teri kyangu bayizayo kwa tuli
Mukama wange yangobye ku mulimu mu butongole
munange Uganda yaffe yeyo bwete buli omu akola byayagala tugende maaso but we need actions ebigambo babyogedde tutegedde ebizibu bitunyigiriza tutegedde akasajja buli in every corner tutegedde Museveni bayizawo now kye tulina okukola okwejjako eno gavumenti basajja bagenda kutunyiga because tukimanyi bulungi nti Museveni yajja mu buyinza na violence tayinza kulekayo violence ne bw'okola otya nalinga mukazi malaya bamujja ku luguudo nga bamwendako okukumi era bajja sigala bamwendako ne maka kati ye Museveni agatukola buli kimu paka we tunaabikoowa buli omu n'agamba naye mbabuulire buli munnayuganda yagala bamukolere saa twagala okunyumya nti oba hajja katunyiga tugeranya biki bitalwaniridde buli kimu kyafa naye nga tulinamu ki ate tulina ekizibu ky'abano babayita ba middle income kyukakyuka n'agamba oli musiru ali mu ggwanga Uganda Munnayuganda oyo bana bali mu kakundi akatunyigiriza be baliwo okuziba abantu amaaso balaga nti ensi etambula nga bw'olina okutambula. Olaganaga munnayuganda akoze ki? Munnayuganda ekyokukola kimanyi naye bannayuganda tukyalimu okutyoka okw'ekisirusiru tutya okufa ne tufa abantu banne mwe bafa mu Uganda omwo.
Si kutya kufa. Tukyalimu obusiru bwa kino ekintu nfuniramu wa. Ndi tugende twekalakaase nfuniramu wa. Atugamba okwekalakaasa ali nganze n'omubuuza kati onaabeera otya nga ye nga teweerwanyeeko.
Mbuye akugamba okwekalakaasa ng'abaana be bali Bulaaya kale n'otunya omuntu n'olema already bali Bulaaya gwe kitegeeza gwe alina okwekalakaasa.
Kiringa ekidoli kyeruzira. N'olaba embaata yava e Uganda eri bubi bw'etuuse eweero etanse okufuna kasalale tabala musolo gwe bamusalako ng'asindika e Uganda tabala bye bamutemaatemako okola $2 ofunako 5 $3,000 ziragawa kiri eyo obwongo bugenzeemu emmere ey'omu fridge kitandise ate okuvuma abaana bali mu nkyukakyuka. Maani owulira nga oyagala okituge.
Uganda. Kana twaga as in to demanding justice 4 years now, no justice for the victims of 19. Anaga tuwa justice. Eno gavumenti tugibanja bingi. Bawo ky'abaana b'e Buddo waneeno myako bakati emeka egiseewa ba Buddo Junior. Ebyayitako badenga batatana baana b'abantu. Omukazi yajja kututta kutumalawo amaziga gaffe ly'essanyu lye okufa kwaffe ly'essanyu lye era Museveni afuna nnyo essanyu ng'awulira mu Uganda bafuddewo abantu wali 100. That is his happiness. Ajaganya n'ojjaganya ewe mu nnyumba n'agamba waawa mu mamazi. Ebyo by'ayagala ebyo bimuwese byajja nabyo. Taza kusuula muggo gwe yajja nagwo tasobola gusuula ekyapani. Agenda kututta mu buli mbeera yonna. Kikyatakoze byakola twabitega byakola mu North twabimanya tubimanyi ate nga Museveni akyakola buli kimu. Byakola abaana mu makomera tubimanya n'agenda obikomya ffe bannayuganda si Museveni na kakundi ke. No way. Abana babikamiza immune tebakyawulira ate naffe tunabikaminga immune tukatugamba nedda mutukayi mutumale wati muli basi. That's the only way to go. Kuyimirira ku streets nga buli omu agamba kale mutumaleewo. Gokawaka ge magezi. Tunabeera mmemba ntukaabire bannanga obusajja bannanga obusajja ngena kuba bukola ebisiru byabo byo bamanyira. Babbe buli kimu bagagga bavuunye tebagenda kukkuta wanigambye twekala emyaka 5 bajja they will never get satisfied. They will never. Ate bagako nga tuyisa bubi nnyo kubanga bakitegedde tubategedde tubakooye nawe nga tewasuubirako bagatukola buli kibi kyowire kyolale tugenda kukaaba amaziga. Uganda yatuuka ye munnaafuna ekizibu n'okaaba ng'ekiri ku obuyingo obulira bukuva ddala ku mutima ku ggumba. Tugenda kukaaba mmwe baganda bange ali kusaaga paka nga twevuddemu. Abakulembeze baffe tubalaba byomu yeekolera bibye. Bannayuganda banyigiriza ffe obule tukkiriza tunyige ng'ebinyenje ng'ebiku. Tuba nga twewaddeyo bano bali ready. Naye tulina abaana tugenda bali soko kyebuuza. Naffe tukyalina obulamu bututwala mu maaso tugenda kububeeramu tutya kukozi Uganda survive. Ne Uganda yetulimu nti Uganda omuntu alwala naga mundeke wako oba nfe tunabeera mwene embeera paka ddi avuuka bagenda mu bivulu nabo bali mu nyegenyege beeyambula as in they expose themselves mu ngeri yonna tebafaayo eggwanga balitwala kati lwatu kuba omulere
Uganda eringa omukyala omusajja gwawonyaawonya n'akuba endulu mujje mu ntaasi muba mwakatuuka n'ajjukira nti talina mulala amugulira kyakulya n'amala n'agamba mumuleka nkube kati byo bye tulimu embeera bw'emala okukunyiga ng'okuba enduulu bw'omala ofunayo kitwalo siina gye ndaga kanjira ngumiikiriza ebyo bye tulimu naye buli omu wanaamala actually nze nasanyukira nnyo n'emmwanyi bazinyige buli omu bagende nga bamunyiga nga basooka abavubi ne tusirika ne banyiga takisi ne tusirika ne banyiga booda ne tusirika okitegeera kati banagenda banyiga buli kimu n'abalaalo bwe baba nga bulijjo abakiga balowooza omuseeto ge baliko nabo eryabwe kabalitwale ffenna tuzuukuke buli omu amanye nti waatudde omuliro gukutte mu nsonda n'ensonda tuli wakati either odduka oba okwata baketi ozikiza omuliro naye bino ebyamukyala naye mumuleka nkube kasa eyanjija ewaka ojja kufa kale angende nkole mwebala abategesi
ogenze
tewerabira okudda tujja kuba tukyali wano nga tukuyize ng'olikusa kuba Uganda yakubeera kutunyigiriza mpaka kuwulira bubi
otulo twabadde tuntute bambi kati ziri sawa 10 zigenda kubeera 12 I had slept with the phone in the hands. I woke up, I think, when somebody was submitting. Was it Kalole? I think I listened to him. Kasa Lawrence wabuzize ekibuuzo and I slept off. Uganda si ya leero. You know me, entuntumu sigirina. They call it entuntumu. But you are in a country where people ask yani ayogera ngani. Then I took a chair. I was, you know, you people are over struggle here, but recently. When I speak in America, people say, boy, ayogera mu America. But I have all records of everything that I was speaking in Uganda when I lost a job in Mulago Hospital. That was 1995. I was talking about expired drugs being used on patients. And the person who talked with me, who exposed me, was Linda Navsai. Linda Navsai yali ekifo ekinene mu government ya Museveni. I think she became one of the press secretaries. If I ask Linda Navsai, do you remember me? I don't think she remembers. When I was fired from Bara University Hospital, I was talking about Indians using us to prescribe drugs for them. The Indians come to hospital and they tell you to the thing, go and buy, that word, go and buy. It came from hospitals because the Indians had already taken up the pharmaceutical industry in Uganda and they have so many pharmacies. So the Indians would enlist us because nobody cares. But they'll tell us, prescribe for me. I have ceftriaxone here. Prescribe for me. Make for me at least 100 prescriptions and you come and I pay you. You note the patient down. You send them to a specific pharmacy. And nobody cared. But again, the system inside tracked me down and I was sent away. The good thing when I was sent, even New Vision, the person who tracked me, who hosted me, is now with me here on Cheo in the US. I sometimes laugh. Andrew Mwenda, who hosted me on KFM, he called me somebody overzealous. That's what Andrew said. But he's a non-starter. That statement came from Andrew Mwenda. For me, I have those stories that make me sad and sometimes I laugh because every person, abantu bali Andrew Mwenda mkati mkulu mpielo you, me I'm in dust. Moses Ali is a big person, Prime Minister. How many times? Me, I'm in dust. These are people I know because I served them. Some of them I dealt with them. What have you? So stories of Uganda. There was a time I came and I said, I think I need to. As I said, I need to invest in a coffin business because I know who is going to die.
So mama atandika mbalala coffin gundi.
I have never.
Atembalala ku mulyango gwa mulago kwennyini kuliko alina business ya coffee.
I have never. Soko would
you say.
Yes.
You're interfering with my submission. You're interfering with my submission. So you look at. You look at the picture. I have just given you pictures of people I'm working with. We'll take those kind of patients. Obatwala wa. Okuja ko kwavuaza. Obatwala